expedition went out and captured Constantinople. That's why they used the Venetian Navy, is because they have one of the best shipping organizations, and that's how the city gained most of its money. If you go to Venice today and you look at San Marco Square, you see where all that money went. It's all those beautiful buildings. And, I'm not exactly sure if that's the origin of the patriarchal title, because Venice was also is one of those northern cities. Was also one of those cities that was influenced heavily from the east during the period of the reign of Justinian. So I'm not sure if the title goes back. I don't know my history well enough that far back.
Do you know it well enough to tell me which? Father has some notes here that he handed out to us, an outline at St. Louis, King of France. Which of the Louis was that? St. Louis.
St. Louis is Louis the Fourth, I believe. Yeah. Louis the Fourth. So, any other questions? Okay. If I can't answer them, just save them up for Father Allen.
Are there more than one St. Louis?
It's the only one that I know of. There probably is more than one. Is there more than one St. Louis? So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The council itself, just to give you a little bit of the after story, the council itself didn't absolutely resolve this question of Frederick II, although Frederick II, of course, his kingdom was in chaos towards the end of his reign. He dies in 1250, so just 5 years after the end of the council. And this, as you might guess, takes care of the problem and the tension between the church and the secular power. But what that does is it upsets the whole balance of powers within Western Europe. Suddenly all of these kingdoms, which were part of the larger empire, are left to their own devices. And there's jockeying for who should become the next Holy Roman Emperor. And with the Pope arrogating to himself the authority to depose a Holy Roman Emperor, there is, of course, all these questions about the relationship, still questions about the relationship of the secular and the sacred arms, the ecclesiastical and secular arms. That doesn't really lead into many of the issues of the 14th Ecumenical Council, but the Second Council of Lyon, which happened in 1274. But it does show us that the Pope is at the height of his authority. That the papacy, I should say, is at the height of its authority by 1274. The Second General Council of Lyon was held by Pope Gregory X. And at that council were the patriarchs of Antioch and Constantinople, 15 cardinals, 500 bishops, and more than 1,000 other dignitaries. You can see the radical difference in numbers between this of attendees, between this council and the immediately previous council. For one thing, this is a council that Pope Gregory wants to ensure can be called a most general council. He wants to ensure that this can be called truly an ecumenical council. Why? Because he's very keen on uniting the Eastern Church and the Western Church. This is 200 some years after the after the division between East and West, with a exchange of anathemas between the East and the West, as the Pope of the time excommunicated the Patriarch of Constantinople. Pope Gregory X wants to unite East and West, not only because of the spiritual benefit that's involved in that, but also because of the tremendous benefit that would bear in terms of uniting the whole of Christendom over against the Muslim peril, you might call it. The Islam was had made already rather bold moves throughout the whole of the southern Mediterranean basin. So, coast, the southern Mediterranean coast. I mean, that's a story that really began a long time before, and most of its main gains had already happened. But Pope Gregory wanted, like most of the popes during the 13th century, wanted to retake the Holy Land. I just want to check just one thing. The Holy Land was eventually lost in 1291, but Jerusalem had already been lost to the Muslims in October of 1187. And so Gregory was very interested in attempting to provide a united front over against the Islamic peril, over against the Muslims, and to retake the Holy Land. He thought that he would really need the cooperation of the Eastern Empire, and that this also might help the tenor of ecclesiastical affairs within Western Europe itself, with different kingdoms squabbling amongst themselves. What they really needed, what he really wanted to provide, is some unity to Christendom. And this very well might provide it. So, just a few years before, 13 years before, in 1261, the East had reclaimed Constantinople under their leader Michael VIII, called Palaeologus, who captured Constantinople and ended the Latin Empire there in 1261. Gregory X, who's elected on the 1st of September 1271, attempts to make a treaty with Michael VIII because he wants to unite the Eastern and Western churches. So Gregory convokes a general council on the 31st of March 1272, proposing 3 themes for his council. The first, the union with the Greeks; the second, a crusade; and the third, reform of the church. The council assembled at Lyon and opens actually on the 7th of May 1274, with 300 bishops, 60 abbots, and a large number of other clergy, many of them who were theologians. And this is the council to which Thomas Aquinas is on his way as he dies in Fossa Nova in Italy, as he's making his way to the Second Council of Lyon. Bonaventure, the famous Franciscan, Saint Bonaventure, the famous Franciscan theologian, makes it to the council, but dies while he is there. He makes it through most of the council, actually. The representatives of the Greeks arrive late on the 24th of June. And although the initial number of participants does not seem to have been especially large, the whole Christian world was present, either in person or through representatives, so that the council would evidently be universal and ecumenical. The council had 6 sessions, which met on the 7th and 18th of May, on either the 4th or 7th of June, we're not sure, the 6th, the 16th, and the 17th of July in that year.